be easy. Verse 25.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
Now, if you so in love with the life that you have, which is going to end anyway, if you so in love with that way of life, he said you're going to lose it in the end. Whosoever shall save his life shall lose it. But whosoever do what?
And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
See, he said you got to be willing to give your life up. See, that's a big statement. See, people say, you know, we talk about stuff, they say, see, y'all kind of radical. Well, that sounds kind of radical right there, don't it? Mm-hmm. Whosoever will lose his life, and he don't mean technically that you have to full-fledged lose your life physically, like die, even though some people would do that. Some people will die. But everybody's not going to die a physical death for the Lord. But everybody have to die a spiritual death from the Lord, for the Lord. In other words, you have to let go your old life, the way you did things. And obviously that don't happen overnight, but you have to let that go. That's what he said. Read it again.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
See, you got to be willing to give up your life as you know it, whatever is contrary to him. And again, when you start to do it, just like years ago, when I started doing things, you know, my mother was looking at me funny, even though she had a little more sense to even to really kick on it, but she thought it was kind of strange. You know, I said, no, I ain't eating no more pork, Mama. I stopped eating pork. So she was looking like, you ain't no more pork, so she didn't bother with it no more. But, you know, even things like when I told her I wasn't celebrating Christmas, she had an eye suspect on that. So people around you, they're going to look at you like something is wrong. But, hey, you got to be willing to lose your life for the Lord. Just like, you know, Jesus told you, honor your mother and father. The Bible says honor your mother and father, but Jesus told you in Matthew 10, don't love your mother and father more than me. See, it ain't no dishonor to your parents if you say, look, I'm going to do God's will. And if they have a problem with it, that ain't dishonoring them. Because he said don't love nobody more than him. But he's speaking, he's letting you know that what's going to be around you is going to be contrary to him, and you got to be willing to let it go. Go ahead, verse 26.
For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
See, so it ain't nothing shouldn't be worth eternal salvation. You should be willing to let go of it, is what he's saying, isn't it? He said, for what is a man profited? He said, what do you benefit if you gain the whole world? And you know, and we sell out for a lot less than that, right? Mm-hmm. We sell out, like I heard one of the rappers, he said he sold out for a few toys. He even threw a Happy Meal in there. But we sell out for a lot less than gaining the whole world. But if you could gain the whole world, it wouldn't be worth it. That shows you it's all vanity, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And you got preachers telling you prosperity is your birthright, you're supposed to have. Seen one preacher on TV, he said, you want that house? Just go claim it. Go stand over there and talk to it. Say, house, you mine. Why don't you just make you some money and buy it? Leave God out of it. But that ain't your birthright. That's not what the Lord is not telling you that. Your birthright is telling you you need to find out about God and do his will. He going to make sure you got somewhere to stay and something to eat. So he said, look, for what is a man profited if he gain the whole world and do what?
Lose his own soul.
And lose his own soul. Go ahead.
Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
And what can you give in exchange for your soul? It ain't nothing worth that. So that's why we need to leave the vanity alone. Nothing more important. But now let's go further. Go to, read 27.
For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his work.
Oh, now people don't know that. See, this is how it's going to end. This is what you have to focus on, because he said himself, the Son of Man, talking about himself, shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels. See, this is what we waiting on, the second coming. It ain't about going, it's about him coming. He going to come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and that's when he going to take over this world. And that's when he said he is going to reward every man according to his work. So therefore, I got to start to get my act together, don't I? People say, oh, you ain't got to do no works. Jesus did all. That's a lie, and the truth not in you. What does he mean he going to judge according to works? What does it mean in Revelation he talks about judgment day? He going to open books and judge you according to your works. How are you going to tell somebody they ain't got to do no works? Jesus did it all. That's a lie. Jesus gave you a chance. Now you got to show you believe. Faith without works is dead. So he said, he is going to come. That's what he said, right? So he challenging you. He said, look, you better be ready. The Son of Man going to come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he going to reward every man according to what?
His works. His
works. Not how much faith he got. Because you don't have no faith if you don't have no works to back it up. I can say I love. I can say I love my neighbor. I can say I love this brother over here all day long, but when he leave home, I sneak in the back door, try to sleep with his wife. That's not love. And you're going to get judged accordingly. But now, let's go to Genesis. Go back to the beginning. Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Because, see, you say, well, things is kind of messed up. Things is contrary to God, where it's been contrary to God since the beginning, since man sinned. And we can't sugarcoat it. It is the way it is. But it's a way out if we take it. It's a way out of the maze. But we got to take it by finding out about God's will and doing it. It's a way out. Genesis 3. This is where it all went downhill at, though. The Lord told Adam not to do such. And it's amazing to me to this day how people sugarcoat even death. You know, people say, oh, death ain't death. Look, you saying God lied. God told us we was going to die once Adam disobeyed. Death got to be death. But the way out of death is something else. You can get out of death. That's through the resurrection. And which is going to take place mainly for practically everybody at Judgment Day. But now, Genesis 3 and verse 17. Go ahead.
And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. And sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
Now that's God passing sentence on Adam and all of mankind. He passing sentence on them. Because Adam disobeyed, and we ain't going to get into it, what he did. He didn't eat no apple, though. That's the lie we all done heard. We all done heard Adam and Eve ate an apple. They even draw pictures and paint pictures with them biting into an apple, the forbidden fruit. It had nothing to do with no literal fruit. It's food for thought. Just like we getting food for thought right now. You can go somewhere else tomorrow and get some food for thought. It'll be along the lines of what Adam got, though. Because we getting some good food because we reading it out the Bible now. So he said, look, because you hearkened to your voice of your wife and ate of the tree which I commanded thee, saying don't eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake, and now you're going to have a hard life. See, this when the world was on its way downhill because of disobedience. That shows you that's the key, is finding out what God wants and obeying him. Jesus said he's going to judge, give everybody according to their works. He said the ground is cursed for your sake, and you're going to eat of it all the days of your life. But it's cursed. So now you scuffling. Then at verse 18, he said, thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee. So in other words, it wasn't meant to be so difficult. The difficulty came in when man didn't want to do what God said do. That's when he brought the difficulty in. Then at verse 19, read that one more time for me.
In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread.
See, that don't sound nice, do it? He said, look, you're going to scuffle now. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread. In other words, you're going to have to work hard. Like the old saying is true, life is hard and then you die. I know that I can't say the other words people use. But life is hard and then you die. Well, that's pretty accurate according to what we're reading here. He said, in the sweat of your face shalt you eat bread till what?
till thou return unto the ground.
Until you do what? Return unto the ground. That's absolute, isn't it? And that's the way it is to this day. Finish that again.
For out of it was thou taken.
Out of the ground was you taken. Go ahead.
For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
See, God made man from dust in the beginning, and because he sinned, he said, you going back to the dust. He didn't put no in-between in there, did he? He didn't say, but see, I'm going to let your spirit float up here and be with me. That wouldn't even make no sense according to what he's saying, is it? See, because the spirit that leave you when you die, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's the breath that he put in your nostrils. Job 27 tell you that. That ain't got nothing to do. You are going back to the dust. If you don't know nothing else, understand that God is passing sentence on man for disobedience. Death is punishment for sin. So we can't sugarcoat it. Like when I do eulogies, do funerals, I can't lie and say the person really not dead. See, that's what people want to hear, though. I mean, you want to hear a quiet place, you should hear when we do a funeral. Because we tell them like it is. Death is really death. But now the good news is there is a resurrection. That's what you have to believe in. That's what the Bible's saying. That's the only way out. But this when the world was downhill. Because it is vain for me. It is messed up for me to have to work all my life, scuffle and struggle, and at the end, I die. That is messed up. Like I said, if I didn't think it was nothing else, if I didn't know it was nothing else, hey, I'd be like a lot of people out here. I wouldn't care about nothing. Because that's a vain existence when you have some understanding. In the sweat of your face, you're going to eat bread till you return to the ground. For out of it was thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Now let's go to Job 14. Let's see if he knew about this. In other words, the Lord was telling Adam, you're going to have a hard life while you live, and guess what? At the end of it, you're going to die. You're going back to the dust. He didn't say you're going to come be with me. See, if you went to be with the Lord when you died, who are you going to resurrect and judge on Judgment Day? That wouldn't make no sense. People lie so much, they get confused in their lies. I heard people lie and say, well, I know such and such, Miss So-and-so died, she's in the casket, but she's up in heaven smiling down. And then a few minutes later, they said, something bad happened. They said, oh, I know she turned over in her grave. Wait a minute, a few minutes ago, she was smiling down from heaven. You can't even keep the lie straight. Job 14. Let's see if he knew about it. If he knew about this life of vanity. But see, it's a way to overcome it. That's what we got to find out about. Once we know that it ain't about nothing, we can go about the business and overcoming it. Job 14:1. Go ahead.
Man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble.
See what Job said? He said the same thing. Man that is born a woman, which count everybody in here that I see. Man, and that includes woman born a woman too. Man that is born a woman is a few days and what?
Full of trouble.
Full of trouble. Isn't that something? Go ahead.
He cometh forth like a flower.
See, when you born, it's something beautiful. Everybody is happy. A baby is born. Oh, he coming forth like a flower. That's a great day in most people's life, right? That's a great day. Coming forth like a flower. But as sure as that baby who you are glad is born, they are going to die. That's the way it was set up once man messed up. So he coming forth like a flower. Go ahead.
And is cut down.
And is cut down. Go ahead.
He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not.
And before you know it, it's over with. Let's go further. Go to Psalm 39. We're going to make some sense out of this. Psalm 39. Go to Psalm 39. See, this is what the Bible says. You got to rightly divide the scripture. You got to deal with the word here a little and there a little, line upon line. Therefore, it will interpret itself. I can stand up here and read a verse and talk. But I might say anything. And you don't need to believe what I'm going to say. You need to believe what's written in the word. Psalm 39 and verse 4. See, we need to understand how vain this world is. How vain even your very existence is. How vain it is. And it's only one thing